Welcome back to H4, where we explore heretics, hypocrites, hogwash, and hope. We continue this journey together today as we explore heretics again. The last heretic we spoke about was Jesus. Today, we're going to talk about the heretics of 1692 to 1693. The heretics of the Salem witch trials in the northeast of this country, not Europe, right here in America. The witches of Salem were called heretics because they questioned the church, which was their local government of the time, and because they were different, because they disagreed with the authority figures of their time. They were odd, they were outsiders, they were expendable. Interestingly, New England was taken from the indigenous people of the area by religious rebels seeking to create a society that revolved around their faith. Can you see the material here for talking about hypocrites? Right. Well, anyway, you know that where there are people, there is conflict. And it wasn't long before there were conflicts among these religious rebels. They argued about cattle and property lines for property that was not even rightly theirs, I might add, church privileges and other things. And soon they needed to hire a minister to help them out. But they couldn't keep a minister for very long because of their constant bickering. Anyway, soon the village of Salem, Massachusetts was being seen after by their newly hired ordained minister, Samuel Parris. Rather than help the village, though, he saw the turmoil and delayed his acceptance of this position, which even further fueled the fire. And soon the unrest in the village had reached a fever pitch. Samuel did eventually accept, but the damage was done. And I should also tell you that at this time there were many stories about demons, witches, and the devil circulating throughout the settlements in New England among the whites. So, back to Samuel Parris, minister of Salem Village. Well, in January of 1692, his daughter, 9 years old, and his niece, 11 years old, started having fits, and their bodies were writhing and contorted, and they had outbursts of screaming. If you've ever been to a grocery store with tired children, you might understand what this looked like. However, with all the unrest in the village, others began to exhibit similar symptoms, and soon a woman enslaved by the Parris family, a minister's family, was arrested along with two other women. One of the women was a beggar and the other was poor and old. Sounds to me like a group of perfect scapegoats, people on the fringes, people not in the mainstream. The enslaved woman, scared for her life without a doubt, turned on the other women and gave a false confession that she and the other women had been in the service of the devil. The falsehoods continue, and soon several others were accused. All of the chaos and paranoia reached a climax in September of 1692 with the wrongful execution of 7 people and 5 people who died in jail awaiting trial, all of whom were guilty of no crime except that they were not from the mainstream. The courts later realized their mistake and reparations were made to the families in 1711, but those lives were still lost. Tragic! A very cautionary tale that sends a clear message. If you're not part of the in crowd, be prepared to be culled from the herd. That's what happens when a heretic speaks or someone challenges the status quo. It's what happened to Jesus, right? You might be asking yourself, where is the hope in this story? I can tell you right now, the hope comes from a very predictable source. Can you guess? The king of the heretics, Jesus. Jesus' story is filled with opportunities for him to follow the in crowd, to go along with what was being said and done. And he didn't. He wanted change, and he went out and did it. We can follow this example by remembering that it's up to us to change the world, to be the voice, the hands, and the feet of God in the world. We can't change the world by wishing it, but we can by examples of what to do. Think of a change you'd like to see in the world. Using less plastic is one thing I'm passionate about. Then make a plan about what you can do to change it. I'm trying to do research and purchase products where I don't have to use as much plastic. I try to buy responsibly sourced goods and promote women and BIPOC-owned businesses when possible. Just this little thing has changed my life, my family's lives, and we have influenced others in our lives to try to change. Give it a try. You might be surprised how much influence you have and how much you can change the world. See you next time.